Every autumn, there's that one chilly night that makes you realize, right, it's time. Time to start bringing in the tender plants before frost gets them. The challenge is doing it without also bringing in unwanted passengers. Hi folks, Pauline here. Today I'm going through my tender plants and tropicals to bring them in for winter. I'll be sorting through my succulents, birds of paradise, ferns, and I'll show you what I do to get them ready for winter and bring them inside without bringing in any pests with them. Before anything comes inside, I take a few minutes to give each plant a proper check. Look under the leaves, along the stems, and around the pot rim, anywhere a bug might try to hide. You'd be amazed what shows up when you really look. Aphids, mealybugs, the odd spider, they all want to sneak in for winter. I start by giving each one a blast with the hose. A strong stream of water helps clear off dust, webs, and any unwanted guests. Don't be afraid to be firm. Most plants can handle it. Then I completely dunk the pots in a large tub of water. It flushes out insects and soil dwellers that like to hide below the surface. After that, I drain them well before I bring them into the house. I also like to refresh the top inch or so of soil, especially if it's compacted or mossy. It helps remove any lingering pests and helps with winter watering. Once everything's clean, I take a few minutes to tidy them up. This isn't heavy pruning, just removing what's tired or overgrown before they come inside. Anything yellow, damaged, or scraggly, I'm going to remove off of the plant. Taking some of the foliage off is okay for the plants during the winter. In the winter, they slow down, so less foliage is going to mean less stress on the plant. After trimming, I like to top each pot with a small handful of worm castings. It's one of my favorite gentle soil amendments. It feeds the microbial life in the soil and adds trace nutrients without overstimulating growth. It's not a fertilizer, it's more of a beneficial soil conditioner. The one I like to use is by this brand, We the Wild. And what's nice is it gives just enough goodness to keep the plants healthy through the winter, but not as much that it's going to push out new growth during the winter, which is what we don't want. And I don't fertilize at all during the winter. The plants are resting during the winter months, and I don't want to give them anything that is going to encourage them to grow when the light levels are still low. Before they come inside, I give them a full spray down with neem oil. I like to use the We the Wild brand. And this just helps to protect the plant from pests once they're inside. It also makes for a nice plant shine as well. Ferns like bright but indirect light with a bit of humidity, so a bathroom or a kitchen window is usually perfect. Birds of paradise love a bright spot, even if it's a bit cooler at night. I usually keep them in my garden room. Pelargoniums and succulents prefer the brightest window you can give them, and the dryness doesn't bother them one bit. For humidity-loving plants, I like to set their pots onto shallow dishes filled with small pebbles and water. The pot sits just above the water line, and as it evaporates, it creates a gentle pocket of humidity around them. For smaller plants, you can use cloches over top of them. They help to hold moisture in, and they also give sort of a old Victorian charm. Grouping plants with similar needs together makes caring for them much easier, and it helps them too by creating a slightly more humid microclimate for one another. What I like to do is bring plants into my garden room, and they have a little break in here under LEDs through the winter, and this allows me a little bit of freedom on where I put the plants in my house, because sometimes the most beneficial place isn't necessarily where I want it to look decoratively. Once the plants are settled in, I keep things simple. Water only when the top of the soil feels dry. It is really easy to overwater through the winter. Mostly, I just keep an eye on them. They don't need much through the winter, just steady light and a light touch with the watering can. That's everything in for the season. It's always a bit of a shuffle, but it feels good to have it done. The house always feels a bit more alive through the winter with the plants back inside. If you're bringing tender plants in for the season, I'd love to know what made the cut and what didn't in the comments below. Bye for now.